So beets, great crop to grow. And one thing that some people don't know about beets is you can eat them raw. That's really nice raw. Slice them thin or you chop them up. You can make salads with them. They're just wonderful raw. I love them, my kids love them. And I like to grow two types of them. I like to grow the golden, which these are golden, and then just your regular red beets. And you can grow these in succession so that you have them throughout the season fresh. And then you can also grow them for storage. And in New York, where I am, it's about mid-July, and this would be the time that you would plant them for storage. They would probably get to size by the time the fall rolls around, and then you cut the tops off. I store them washed, and you just store them above freezing, cool, anywhere from 35 to 45 degrees, and they will last all winter long. You want to store, your best looking stuff, right? Eat the stuff that has a blemish in it or a crack or anything like that. It's going to taste perfectly fine. But for storage, the higher the quality, the longer they're going to last. All right, so it's best to start beets from starts, I think. Especially if you have a small garden, you don't need to start that many. I'm starting 18 beets at a time, so it's not a lot of space to do it in. And then you can plant them at a nice good spacing to get a really good sized beet. And you can do them on a 3x3 on a bed, which is 3 across, 10 inches across on a 30-inch bed. So 30 divided by 3 is 10 inches. So they'd be 10 inches apart this way and 10 inches apart that way. If you have really nice soil and you want to, really grow more intensively, then you can double that up. And so then you would just add a beet along in between each one and double the amount of beets. Now I don't thin them. A beet seed is actually made up of more than one seed. So even if you put one beet seed in a pot or a cell, you could actually get 2 or even 3 or more beets popping up. And that's okay. I just plant them, and as long as you have healthy, good, well-fertilized soil, then you're going to get a beet to size. Beets are one of those crops that really show imbalance in your soil. And, things like boron or copper, which are, the micronutrients that a lot of people don't bother with. They're more worried about the major ones. They're the ones that are going to show that. So if you're not getting beets to size or they're getting really diseased, then that could be the problem, is your copper or boron, especially boron. They are heavy feeders of it. And just remember, always be careful with boron because you add very, very little of it. So you want to, triple check, quadruple check before you start adding it. Don't just throw it in there, make sure there's soil test and everything. Now, one of the most common problems that you can get with beets is leaf spot. And this will happen to chard too. It's in the same family. And they're going to look like little spots on the leaf. And it can get so bad to where the leaf will die and shrivel up. I get it in my garden, but I usually get it after the beet's already sized up, right? You can see the beet's already huge, right? Its energy is gone, and therefore it can no longer defend itself. So it's about harvesting at the right time. A plant, it's very hard for a plant to defend itself into old age. When it's young and it has the strength to fight the disease, then it does. Then, I have beautiful greens up until the beet gets older. So it's about keeping up with the harvest and harvesting them, right? As you can see, I have a planting here, here, and there. And they're probably about 3 weeks apart, which is a really good timing between your beet plantings. But if you wait too long, you could get the leaf spot. And it's not going to hurt anything. There's nothing wrong with the beets. You just harvest them. They're going to be great. Makes it less likely you're probably going to eat the greens. Now, if you want to direct seed them, you know, you certainly can. You can have problems with the germination. So you may want to overseed a bit and then thin. It just takes a little bit more time, but it's certainly doable. And the advantages to direct seeding is you do get a bit of transplant shock with beets. They do get a little upset after planting and will take time to come back. You can see here, you know, this was transplanted and then the leaves get a little bit purple, you know, they can get brown, you know, things can happen. But then the new leaves that come up as soon as it's settled in are bright green and nice. Right, so just give it a little bit of time after they're planted and they should bounce back. But you just lose a little bit of growth time, you know, anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks as it comes back. Now beets are a favorite of voles. And voles they look like mice, but they burrow shallow into the ground. Sometimes you'll see trails in the snow if there's snow where you live. Sometimes, you know, you'll put down something on the ground for a long time and then you lift it up and you'll see the little burrows of this mouse-sized vole, mouse-sized rodent. And they're vegetable eaters, so they eat plants and they really love beets. So if you see lots of chewing on a beet, you know, they can chew, you know, big indentations into a beet. The best way to stop that is to keep the weeds down. Voles don't like to go a long way with their head uncovered, and so if there's a lot of weeds, they're going to get in there and start chewing all your beets.